Welcome back, even. Today, we will be reading When Lilacs Last in the Dooryard Bloomed by Walt Whitman. Not Walter White, though he does make an appearance in Breaking Bad. So, he shares cultural relevance. But yeah, Walt Whitman, there's two things to know about him. He is obsessed with himself, but like spiritually, he was basically a proto-hippie because he was from the 1800s, late 1800s, I will say, but still. Very, very fond of himself. Wrote a very long poem called Song of Myself. And the other thing is that he had a photo in the book in which, the one that featured Song of Myself. And in that book, there was an image of himself, so a little portrait thing. And there was a certain shadow on like his right pant leg, so our left, right around a little side on the crotch area. And he specifically requested that shadow be slightly enhanced, darkened, more emphasized, that's the term, to make the, his member a bit more prevalent. So, make of that what you will. I think he's just a hippie, basically, and that's really all that matters. But yeah, so let's get into this. When lilacs last in the dooryard bloomed, and the great star early drooped in the western sky in the night, I mourned, and yet shall mourn with ever-returning spring. Ever-returning spring, Trinity, show to me you bring. Lilac blooming perennial, and drooping star in the west, and thought of him I loved. O powerful western fallen star, O shades of night, O moody, tearful night, O great star disappeared, O the black smoke that hides the star, O cruel hands that hold me powerless, O helpless soul of me, O harsh surrounding cloud that will not free my soul. In the dooryard, fronting an old farmhouse near the whitewashed palings, stands the lilac bush, tall growing with heart-shaped leaves of rich green, with many a pointed blossom rising delicate, with the perfume strong I love, with every leaf a miracle, and from this bush in the dooryard, with delicate colored blossoms and heart-shaped leaves of rich green, a sprig with its flower I break, in the swamp, in secluded recesses, a shy and hidden bird is warbling a song. Solitary in the thrush, the hermit withdrawn to himself, avoiding the settlements, sings by himself a song. Song of the bleeding throat, death's outlet, song of life, for well, dear brother, I know, if thou wast not granted to sing, thou wouldst surely die. Over the breast of the spring, the land amid cities, amid lanes and through old woods where lately the violets peeped from the ground, spotting the grey debris. Amid the grass in the fields, each side of the lanes, passing the endless grass, passing the yellow-speared wheat, every grain from its shroud in the dark brown fields uprisen, passing the apple tree, blows of white and pink in the orchards, carrying a corpse to where it shall rest in the grave. Night and day journeys a coffin. Coffin that passes through lanes and streets, through day and night, with the great cloud darkening the land, with the pomp of the enlooped flags, with the cities draped in black, with the show of the states themselves as of crape-veiled women standing, with processions long and winding, and the flambeaux of the night. With the countless torches lit, with the silent sea of faces and the unbared heads, with the waiting depot, the arriving coffin, and the somber faces, with doges through the night, with the thousand voices rising strong and solemn, with all the mournful voices of the doges poured around the coffin, the dim-lit churches and the shuddering organs, where amid these you journey, with the tolling, with the tolling bells, perpetual clang. Here, coffin that slowly passes, I give you my sprig of lilac. Nor for you, for one alone, blossoms and branches, green to coffins all I bring, for fresh as the morning, thus would I chant a song for you, O sane and sacred death. All over bouquets of roses, O death, I cover you over with the roses and early lilies, but mostly and now the lilac that blooms the first. Copious I break the sprigs from the bushes, with loaded arms I come, pouring for you and the coffins, all of you, O death. O western orb sailing the heaven, now I know what you must have meant as a month since I walked. As I walked in silence, the transparent shadowy night, as I saw you had something to tell, as you bent to me night after night, as you drooped from the sky low down as if to my side, while the other stars all looked on, as we wandered together the solemn night, for something I know not what kept me from sleep. As the night advanced, I saw on the rim of the west how full you were of woe, as I stood on the rising ground in the breeze in the cool, transparent night, as I watched where you passed, and was lost in a netherworld black of the night, as my soul in its trouble dissatisfied sank, as where you sad orb, concluded, dropped in the night, and was gone. Sing on there in the swamp, O singer, bashful and tender, I hear your notes, I hear your call. I hear, come presently, I understand you. But a moment I linger, for the lustrous star has detained me. The star my departing comrade holds and detains me. Oh how shall I warble myself for the dead one there I loved? And how shall I deck my song for the large sweet soul that has gone? And what shall my perfume be for the grave of him I love? Sea winds blown from east and west, blown from the eastern sea and blown from the western sea, till there on the prairies meeting, these and with these in the breath of my chant, I'll perfume the grave of him I love. Oh, what shall I hang on the chamber walls, and what shall the pictures be that I hang on the walls, to adorn the burial house of him I love? Pictures of growing spring and farms and homes, with the fourth month eve at sundown, at the grey smoke, lucid and bright, with floods of the yellow, gold, and gorgeous, indolent, sinking sun burning, expanding the air, with the fresh, sweet herbage underfoot, and the pale green leaves of the trees prolific. In the distance, flowing glades, the breast of the river, with the wind dapple here and there, with ranging hills on the banks, with many a line against the sky in shadows, and the city at hand with dwellings so dense, and stacks of chimneys, and all the scenes of life in the workshops, and the workmen homeward returning. Lo, body and soul, this land, my own Manhattan with spires, and the sparkling and hurrying tides, and the ships, the varied and ample land, the south and the north in the light, Ohio's shores and flashing Missouri, and ever the far-spreading prairies covered with grass and corn. Lo, the most excellent sun, so calm and haughty, the violet and purple morn with just felt breezes, the gentle, soft-born, measureless light, the miracle spreading, bathing all the fulfilled noon, the coming eve delicious, the welcoming night, and the stars, over my city shining all, enveloping man and land. sing on, you gray-brown bird. Sing from the swamps, the recesses. Pour your chant from the bushes, limitless out of the dusk, out of the cedars and pines. Sing on, dearest brother, warble your reedy song, loud human song with voice of uttermost woe. O liquid and free and tender, O wild and loose to my soul, O wondrous singer! You only I hear, yet star holds me, but will soon depart. Yet the lilac with mastering odor holds me. Now while I sat in the day and looked forth, in the close of the day, close, in the close of the day, with its light and the fields of spring, and the farmers preparing their crops, in the large unconscious scenery of my land with its lakes and forests, in the heavenly aerial beauty, after the perturbed winds and the storms. Under the arching heavens of the afternoon swift passing, and the voices of children and women, the many moving sea tides, and I saw the ships how they sailed, and the summer approaching with richness, and the fields all busy with labor, and the infinite separate houses, how they all went on, each with its meal and minutiae of daily usages, in the streets how their throbbings throbbed, in the cities pent low then and there, falling upon them all and among them all, enveloping me with the rest. Appeared the cloud, appeared the long black trail, and I knew death, its thought, and the sacred knowledge of death. Then, with the knowledge of death as walking one side of me, and the thought of death close walking the other side of me, and I in the middle as with companions and as holding the hands of companions, I fled forth to the hiding, receiving night that talks not, down to the shores of the water, the path by the swamp in the dimness, to the solemn shadowy cedars and ghostly pines so still, and the singer so shy to the rest received me, and the grey-brown bird I know received us comrades three, and he sang the carol of death, and a verse for him I loved. From deep secluded recesses, from fragrant cedars and the ghostly pines so still, came the carol of the bird, and the charm of the carol wrapped me, as I held as if by their hands my comrades in the night, and the voice of my spirit tallied the song of the bird. Come, lovely and soothing death, undulate round the world, serenely arriving, arriving, in the day and the night, to all, to each, sooner or later, delicate death. Praised be the fathomless universe, for life and joy, and for objects of knowledge curious, and for love, sweet love, but praise, 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 for the sure and winding arms of cool enfolding death. Dark mother always gliding near with soft feet, have none chanted for thee a chant of fullest welcome? Then I chanted for thee, I glorify thee above all. I bring thee a song that when thou must indeed come, come unfalteringly. Approach strong deliveress. When it is so, when thou hast taken them, I joyously sing the dead, lost in the loving floating ocean of thee, laved in the flood of thy bliss, O death. From me to thee, glad serenades, dances for thee I propose, saluting thee, adornments and feastings for thee. In the sights of open landscape, in the high spread sky are fitting, and life in the fields, and the huge and thoughtful night, the night in silence under many a star, the ocean shore, and the husky whispering wave whose voice I know, and the soul toning to thee, O vast and well-veiled death, and the body gratefully nestling close to thee. Over the treetops I float thee a song, over the rising and sinking waves, over the myriad fields and the prairies wide, over the dense packed cities all, and the teeming wharves and waves. I float this carol with joy to thee, O death. To the tally of my soul, loud and strong, kept up the grey-brown bird, with pure deliberate notes spreading, filling the night, loud in the pines and cedars dim, clear in the freshness, moist in the swamp perfume. And I, with my comrades there in the night, while my sight that was bound and my eyes unclosed, as the long panoramas of visions. And I saw askant the armies. I saw as in noiseless streams hundreds of battle flags, borne through the smoke of the battles and pierced missiles I saw them, and carried hither and yon through the smoke, and torn and bloody, and at last but a few shreds left on the staffs, and all in silence, and the staffs all splintered and broken. I saw battle corpses, myriads of them, and the white skeletons of young men. I saw the debris of all the slain soldiers of the war. But I saw they were not as was thought. They themselves were fully at rest. They suffered not. The living remained and suffered. The mother suffered. And the wife and the child and the musing comrades suffered. And the armies that remained suffered. Passing the visions, passing the night, passing, unloosing the hold of my comrade's hands, passing the song of the hermit bird and the tallying song of my soul, victorious song, death's outlet song, yet varying, ever altering song, as low and wailing, yet clear the notes, rising and falling, flooding the night, sadly sinking and fainting, as warning and warning, and yet again boasting with joy, covering the earth and filling the spread of the heaven, as that powerful song in the night I heard from recesses, passing. I leave thee, lilac, with heart-shaped leaves. I leave thee there in the dooryard, blooming, returning in spring. I cease from my song for thee, from my gaze on thee in the west, fronting the west, communing with thee. O comrade lustrous with silver face in the night, yet each to keep in all achievements out of the night. The song, the wondrous chant of the gray-brown bird, and the tallying chant, the echo aroused in my soul. With the lustrous and drooping star, with the countenance full of woe, with the holders holding my hand nearing, calls the bird. Comrades mine and I in the mists, and their memory ever to keep, for the dead I loved so well. For the sweetest, wisest soul of all my days, lands, and this for his dearest sake. Lilac and star and bird twined enchanted my soul. There in the fragrant pines and the cedars, dusk and death. Okay, so our little bit of analysis. Obviously, it has something to do with Walt. I believe when was the Civil War? Yeah, it definitely a reflection upon the Civil War in particular, because that was in from 1861 to 1865, and he lived from 1819 to 1892. So he lived through it entirely, and most likely soaked in it, I would imagine. I don't believe he really had any issues that would prevent him. So he very much is dwelling on it in this, but I don't believe he's entirely saddened at death, but rather at everything caused by it, which, yeah, that's pretty fair. You know, I think it's very true. I think it's very true. I don't want to get into it too deeply here, but I do believe, while dying, there are good deaths and there are bad deaths. I think there could have been worse ways to go than how many did in the war. So, you know, especially if they got a good shot in on you, then you're gone immediately, more or less. And as long as they got a decent shot in on you, you're gonna pass out from blood loss and then just not wake up. And you'll hope for a bit, but you know, I've never taken a bullet, but I can't imagine it's completely like the most debilitating pain ever known to man. But I don't know what they were like in the 60s, the 1860s at that. I don't know. I'm rambling. Regardless, yeah, I think more than anything that the suffering truly comes on a much wider scale when someone dies, and everyone has to just deal with that in however you can. But at the same time, I think it is interesting how it juggles that very directly towards the end, but death is already important from the start, as I believe a funeral is held. And Whitman more or less has like a almost reverence for death. He doesn't speak of it in fear or anything. It's like, yeah, so be it. You're actually kind of cool. And he lives with it. It's interesting how this poem can be so pretty at times. I think what really stood out to me was the yeah, I don't know if these are stanzas necessarily, but number 11, whatever it is, the just such a vivid description of the landscape he's in. So it's just so pretty. More thoughts than I expected to have on a poem, considering I don't really like poetry for the most part. But yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you for watching. There will be a link in the description, so you can read this as well as per usual. Although I already read it, so this might be redundant. But hey, maybe you want to read it just to get something out of it for yourself. I fully support that. But until next time.